Hey everyone, we're Chris and Sandy with the Chris and Sandy Show, and get up close and personal with some amazing guests at the entertainment industry. And today, like I said in every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
Today we're joined by Brande Roderick, actress, model, entrepreneur, and former Baywatch star. From Playboy Playmate of the Year to Celebrity Apprentice, she's done it all.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for being here. We definitely appreciate it.
Now, I'm here in California, and where are you guys?
In Savannah, Georgia.
Yes,
Georgia. Very cool. I want to go to Savannah. So ever since I saw the movie Midnight in the Garden of whatever, of Evil. Yes, Good and Evil with Kevin Spacey. I've been infatuated with going. I love the accents and the beautiful homes and the gardens. So I'm going to go there this year, actually. I'm going to Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, you'll love it. Very beautiful place.
And if you get a chance, you can shoot over to Charleston too, because both Savannah and Charleston, they kind of consider like sister cities.
And that's why I'm going to go to Savannah, because our friend just moved to Charleston. Oh, wow. So we're going to go see him for a couple of days and then go to Savannah. So, cool. Yeah, so I'm glad you said that.
And so do you have any projects that you're currently working on right now?
Well, I am out there heavily talking about Wineville, which is my baby. It is a horror thriller based in 1978. And I produced, acted in, and directed that one. So I'm very proud of it and excited for everyone to go see it. However, I will say it's not for the faint at heart by any means.
So with Wineville and all the other stuff you've produced, what was that step like moving into that arena?
It was a very exciting step, actually, because I'd been on the other side of the camera for 20 some odd years, just with the acting. But with all those years, I've gained and learned and had experience, from all those years and watching and learning. And so it was kind of a natural progression for me to then go into the producing side. So I feel like I had kind of an upper hand going into that whole world that maybe just a normal person going into producing would have, just being on the other side of the camera and having that background. So it was a natural progression. It's so much fun. I love it. It's that job they say, if what's the job that you would do without getting paid, and that's the job. Like if you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. Right. So I love producing films and putting something together like that.
And like you said, natural progression. I guess that's true, because so many actors that we've interviewed, that's their ultimate goal, is to move into that arena.
Absolutely. I mean, just even last night I was watching the new Netflix show called 4 Seasons with Tina Fey, and her name was all over it. So, that's her baby that she just produced.
And with the technology nowadays, it makes it so much simpler, don't it?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think about the technology? Because it's like it's a double-edged sword a little bit. It's like it makes it simpler, but at the same time, it's also scary because things are trying to override things.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, the technology stuff is scary. Just even with social media, right? That's scary. It has such a I hate to use this word, but it is kind of like brainwashing. Every device is listening now. So if you mention or say one thing now on your social media, you're going to be bombarded with that thing.
Yeah, that's
so it's very scary. The AI thing is very scary because you see all the futuristic movies about AI. And you worry that stuff will come true, because if you look at all of our past films,
they've come true.
Total Recall, they've all come true, so it's a matter of time,
Yeah, because it's like, does iRobot come true?
We hope not.
I know. Or even what was the one with Scarlett Johansson? Oh gosh, where she was the voice of an AI person that he became, a girlfriend or boyfriend with, and it just like all that stuff is happening now. Whereas before, when we first came out 10 years ago, you wouldn't think anything like that would even
You'd
exist.
laugh about it.
It does. These things
Yeah.
exist now. It's crazy.
Yeah, because I think Gary V promotes all this technology big time, and I think one of his latest things, he says, no, when he talked about TikTok blowing up in the US, everybody laughed at him. They don't laugh at him no more.
Yeah.
He says but he says now they're laughing at his next thing that he says our grandkids will probably date AI people.
Yeah.
He says everybody laughs at that. He says, but that's coming.
I believe it, and that's what that Scarlett Johansson movie was about. And it's happening. It's already happening. I mean, they're creating AIs of us playmates. That will now be able to talk to you and communicate. And it's Playmate Brandy from from 2000. Like it's happening. I mean, he's absolutely right, 100%.
And it makes it tougher to like. I think that's where social media really took the whole entertainment world to that next level, is because back in your day when you were growing up in this, there was no social media. So although you had interactions with fans, interactions are different now because of social media.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like I'm lucky because when I was coming up, my fans I got to meet, interact with, communicate back and forth. And so I built this. I have such a wonderful fan base because of that, because I was from an era that we can actually, have social interaction, right? Like they'd come to the conventions, we'd meet each other. Whereas now it's so different. I mean, it's just, it's insane. It's very different. So I feel like very blessed that I came from that era.
So let's go back some. When was that moment? Did you ever have like an aha moment that, wow, this could become a career?
Which part? Which would
just as far as back as you can go. Just when you realize acting could become a career.
Well, I always wanted to be an actor, so that was something that I knew would happen, and I worked hard, and I just always had that mentality, like, you go after what you want, you work hard enough, you'll get it. So I always had the mentality that I'm going to be an actress, I'm going to do this. But I said to myself at that time, when I am on Jay Leno or on the Tonight Show, then I know I've made it. So when I became Playmate of the Year, I was on Jay Leno. He mentioned my name and showed me and getting the award. It was a whole thing. And it's like, yay, I made it. And then when I did the Celebrity Apprentice, I was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So I was, I got to do both of them. I was like, that was like my marker, right? Because back in the day for us, it was always, we'd all watch Jay Leno and, the Tonight Show. So that was kind of like my marker. So it's like when that finally happens, like, yes, I'm doing it.
And what's wild is you've been made it way before that, but still it's a mental thing that, wow, this is this is when I know I've arrived.
Exactly. Yes.
And of course, as they say, getting there is half the battle. What's it been like since?
Still a whirlwind. Everything. I feel really blessed. It's still, you still have to work really hard, right? You're constantly having to reinvent yourself, constantly having to stay relevant. This is that type of business where it's like, it's constant work, to keep the work, because the moment you're out of it, you're forgotten. Like if you stay out of it for a few months, 6 months, it's like, they're on to the next, right? It's that kind of instant gratification type of culture we live in today. So it is definitely still a constant rebuilding.
Now you've played so many different types of roles. How have you, because a lot of times when people get put in a certain role, they can't get away from that. How have you managed to survive through all that?
I guess because I never really played any specific type of role. So I've never really been typecast. Like when I did Baywatch, I was like the head lifeguard. I was always very serious, and then, like doing Starsky and Hutch, I played, kind of a I don't even know how to explain my character, but I was a cheerleader, and I was talking about my boyfriend that died, and there was that. And then like, even with the Scarlett Johansson, that was like a drunk mom, who just got out of Betty Ford, so it's like, I've always played different roles. So I feel pretty lucky that I've never gotten typecast, but I will say today, there are certain roles that I just won't even try and play, that I will only go for the roles that I know I'm going to have fun doing.
Yes.
Like
Now
I just,
horror.
yeah, I just don't have any interest in playing like an attorney or a lawyer, or that to me, it's not, that would not be too much fun.
Yeah.
And I also won't do any role if my character's child dies. I will not do that.
Oh, wow.
Yes, definitely understand
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I prefer going after fun, crazy roles, or even lighthearted love story roles, or just stuff that would be kind of just fun to do, not something that would be boring. Yeah.
So a lot of people, they see the glory in what you do, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get any level within entertainment.
Yeah.
And I think that this ain't talked about enough, because so many people jump in thinking it's easy. We both know it's not.
Right.
So take a few moments and just tell us about that side of it. What is it like, the grind side?
Well, I mean, it is definitely a grind. Like I was saying before, it's constant. You're having to always work at it. Just even when I first got to Los Angeles, starting with acting classes, because acting it's like a muscle, right? You work out to keep your muscles going, and that's what acting's like. It's like you have to keep that muscle going. You have to be different and do all the things that other people will not do, because you're a dime a dozen. There's a million of you out there trying to do the same thing. So if you don't go out there and do all those things the other people are doing, then you're not going to get anywhere. You have to set yourself apart and think outside the box and constantly go after what you want. I mean, it is definitely, you just have to keep at it. You can't just think, oh, I'm going to go walk my dog one day and get discovered. Like, it just does not happen like that anymore. Maybe back in the 40s and 50s that could have happened, but that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of business endeavors too. So how do you balance the creative side of you and the business endeavor side of you?
That's a tough one, because you have to do both. But one thing that that I had learned from this seminar that I'd gone to that really helps me is time blocking. So I will time block and put certain things for certain hours of the day, or whatever each day of the week, that is done for creative evolution, and stuff that's done for admin, and stuff that's done for personal. Like I break it all down, and I make sure I give myself that time. And even if you give yourself that 2 hours a day or whatever for creating and writing or whatever it might be, if nothing comes to mind, then nothing comes to mind. It's fine. But at least you're giving yourself that time to just sit and be still and be creative.
So do you have any moments from the beginning, of your acting career, where you auditioned and just didn't go right?
Well, I mean, that's 99% of the time, right? I mean, we audition so much, and it's a numbers game. You're told no and rejected, a million times more than you get the yes. So when that happens, it's, you start to build that thick skin and, strength and adversity and whatever to get you through to the next. So it becomes like second nature, but that happens all the time. You get the no's, but you just have to keep going all the time.
So have you ever seen like an audition that you got rejected from, and then when the movie come out, you're like, oh, I can see why.
Oh yeah. That happens, that happens a lot. And you finally, you get to see it and you're like, oh yeah, that person was really perfect for that. So yeah, that definitely happens. And now being on the other side, when we were casting, it's so true, because when you finally see that person come across the screen, you're like, oh, that's Aunt Margaret. It doesn't mean all the others weren't great, because that's the thing. All the actors, they probably think, oh, I wasn't good. I wasn't good enough, which is not true at all. When we were casting, it's like they were all great. All the actors were really fantastic, but there's only one that's going to embody that character. Like, oh, that's that person I envisioned in my head. So, even though, you do a great job on an audition, you just might not be that writer or that director's person they had in their head. They might have thought of them as, this way, even let's say a different hair color, who knows, whatever it might be. You just, that director has a certain vision of what that person sounds like, looks like, feels like. So, you just
love that.
Everyone can't get the role. You can't get the role. It can only be that one person. And there's a lot of great actors out there.
So since you've been on both sides, you've been rejected, and I'm sure you've had some harsh rejections too throughout the years. How do you handle that side of it as a producer when you're bringing on the actors so that you don't become the producer that people hate?
There's nothing, honestly, there's really nothing you can do, because it's all done online, and the actors send in their tapes and you don't have communication with them.
Oh, okay.
And if their agent, messaged you and saying, hey, how'd it go? You can respond, and say, oh, they were fantastic. They just, this wasn't their role. But that really doesn't happen very often. So it's really, even being an actor now, it's like you just send in the tapes and you don't even think about it. You do it and you don't think about that role again. And if you get the call, fantastic. But you can't think about it. You can't be sitting there, oh, I hope I get this. So you just have to do the audition and you forget about it. You submit it and you forget. So that's the only way to do it.
So a lot of people, they see you, but they don't see the team around you. And in our opinion, teams never get love. On our show, they do. So take a few moments and just tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Like in a film, like as a producer, or just in life?
Whatever you feel like, as part of your team, kind of.
I mean, as far as like producing a film, I mean, it's a village. I think I had like 60 different people on the payroll from start to finish over the time period, a total of 60 people. So it really does take a village, of everybody, whether it's, the writers, the sound guy, the special effects guy, the visual effects guy, the practical effects guy, the set designers, the wardrobe gals, the makeup people, the hair people. I mean, the lighting guy. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It really takes everybody to do that.
Love that. Speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, or 13-year-old. He comes on, asks a couple questions.
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, I was going to say, the village also in my personal is my kids, my 13-year-old, my 15-year-old. They really help the household, come together, and so that's pretty neat. And your 13-year-old.
Yeah, he's watching our 6-year-old right now in the back room. So he helps us with that side of it, so we can do that.
That's so nice. Yeah, that is really great. And my 15-year-old was in Wineville. That's the son in the movie is my son in real life. So, but he played like 11-year-old or 12-year-old at the time. But now he's 15, so he's like almost a grown man.
Back in 2020, when we first launched the show, she used to have to hold the baby, because we were audio then, so she could do that. We kind of can't do that now.
Yeah. Well, now he's 6, so she doesn't need to be holding him now, right? Yeah, but they're always your babies. That's for sure.
Even as tall as he is.
Hello.
Hey, Brande. So what's your favorite food?
Oh, gosh. Well, first of all, wait a minute. What's your name?
Christopher.
Christopher. I have a 13-year-old also, Christopher.
Really?
It's Cannon. Yeah. So my favorite food is just so boring. This is so boring, but my favorite food is pizza. I love pizza. I just had pizza last night. I'm a pizza girl.
Because what's yours?
Pizza.
Couldn't have planned it any better.
I know. That was crazy. Yours is pizza.
I know.
Pizza's good though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just can't eat it all the time.
Yeah. Right.
If we could, we would. But yeah.
I know, but we can't. We shouldn't. It's not healthy. But that is my weakness.
Or I have another question. So, what's the coolest experience you've had on your journey so far?
What's a cool experience?
Yeah. What's the coolest experience you've had so far in your journey?
For me, probably being on Baywatch. Shooting and living in Hawaii was really a dream come true. And that was just a beautiful, wonderful experience that I always just remember and just have the best, fondest memories of.
Now, was you in the very first when it launched, or did you come later in?
No, Baywatch Hawaii was the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
So the first 9 seasons were shot in Los Angeles, and then we moved it to Hawaii to have a new, fresh, aesthetic, which I'm so glad they did, because I've heard horror stories from all my girlfriends that were on Baywatch when it was shot in Los Angeles, of it being freezing and cold, and I don't share those stories. My stories are all of warm, sandy beaches, warm waters, beautiful scenery. So I am very lucky.
Anything else?
That's it.
Oh, well, nice to meet you, Christopher.
Nice to meet you too.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
So was there ever did you ever have like a behind the scenes thing happen, or in between takes, to where something happened that reminded you, this is why I do this?
Between takes. I don't know. I just like thinking back, even with Baywatch, we were like this happy little family because we were all together living on this island, right? With just us. So I feel lucky and blessed because all the people that I met on that show are still my very best friends.
Oh, wow.
And we just had the best of times together. And in between takes, we would just be having fun, joking around. We would go back to the trailers. And back then it was we had VHS tapes in our trailers, so we'd all go rent movies, buy movies, and we'd watch movies in the trailers together. And it was a lot of fun. I built some wonderful relationships and friendships.
What would you say has been your hardest role to play? And what did you learn about yourself through it?
Well, the hardest role, I will say, was Out of Control, it was called. It was a Bollywood film. I was the very first American actress to do a Bollywood film.
Oh, wow.
And in that film, I had to speak Hindi. I had to lip sync in Hindi, and they would show up with my lines on the day right before they'd be writing them and I'd have to say them. So that was probably the hardest, but it was still such a fantastic experience. We got to go to India and travel all over India. We went to Switzerland. I had to be out in the Swiss Alps in freezing cold snow, and wearing basically next to nothing. We were doing a music video for the movie. So I'm out there singing and dancing in the snow and had to make it look like I wasn't freezing. And I was like turning purple, had to drink a bunch of brandy to try to keep me warm. So there were things like that physically that went on during that filming. So that really toughened me up so that, most anything after that was like easy breezy.
So how did you get the role on Baywatch?
I actually was going in to audition for a different role. It was the same casting directors. I went in to audition for a role which was going to be a volleyball series, a brand new volleyball series, which I was really excited about because I loved volleyball as a kid. But when I was in there, the casting directors were like, Brande, we think you'd be great for Baywatch. They're doing a casting, right now they're going to be doing a test shoot. And they walked me over to meet the producers, had me do a quick cold read right there on the spot.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, yes, you're great. come into the test shoot. It's like in 2 days, you know, I was going to have to come in and test shoot with the other actors, the regular actors.
Mhm.
So I went and I studied. I went to go to my acting coach, and I went and read for this role, and even had to do a water test. The producers were out there. We had to do a water test to show that we really know how to swim, because obviously there's a lot of swimming that's going on in Baywatch. So I read for the role, and I ended up getting a call that I got a role. I didn't get the role I read for. And instead, they were giving me the lead role in Baywatch and writing my character. So they were going to create this lead role for me. So it was pretty exciting. Yeah, so that was a very exciting experience. I thank God I had that role for that volleyball show.
Yeah, one of my buddies who does podcasts, he says, "Have you ever met Andy Dick?"
Yeah, because he used to go up to the Playboy Mansion. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a character. He was definitely a character.
And then he also said that, have y'all talked about Starsky and Hutch? And yes, we did a little bit. He said, man, that was the low key of a gem.
Yeah, that was one of the best roles. That was so much fun, being able to work with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. And what a lot of people don't know is that scene that they ended up actually using was improv.
Oh,
So
wow.
we did the scene totally scripted the way it was written. And then at the end, Todd Phillips, who was the director, told Ben and Owen, hey, just start ad-libbing, improving. And they didn't tell me. So everything they asked was all my natural reactions, my natural answers. And they ended up using that take, which was so fantastic.
So have you done that on any of the other movies, or just that one?
Just that one, where they actually ended up using the whole thing, the improv, scene. So that was the main one. I've never been caught off guard before or after that.
Now, with your movies, have you ever do you ever allow the actors to kind of do their thing just to see if something comes out of it?
Oh, yeah. I trust actors wholeheartedly. And if you have the time and the money to be able to, go that route and experience that, then absolutely.
Love that. So what's kind of next for you?
Well, getting this movie out there is really my top priority. But once I get the word out, and people are out watching Wineville, I have my little book of all my stories, my book ideas, and I have everything from TV shows to movies. So when the time comes, whatever's going on in my life at that point, whichever film or show that I'm drawn to is going to be the one that I choose to work on.
Love that. So where do you want your life to be in the next 5 years, whether it's career, life in general? Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Honestly, right where I'm at. I'm just so happy and content. And for me right now, my number one goal is joy. And what brings me joy is seeing my kids have joy. So for me, it's really about spending quality time with my family, traveling, and doing the things that I love, and creating projects that I enjoy doing. Like, I love producing. Again, it's the career I would do for free. So with all of that, just continuing what I'm doing, working with my kids, traveling. That's it for me.
Joe asks, if you ran a mile right now, what would your time be?
Ooh, a mile? Oh gosh, I'm a slow runner. I do walk every day, and I walk 4 days a week, and I run 3 days a week. But I don't run, I jog. So I don't even know. Let's see. Oh, I guess I could. Yeah, when I do my 3 mile jog, it takes me about 36 minutes. So there you go. 12 minutes.
12-minute mile. There you go, Joe. So let's look way down the road, and let's say that your career is basically at the end. Your life is wherever it is. You feel like you've made it. You've success at a grand scale. What do you hope you never forget along that journey?
To live in the moment, because that's what life's about, living for right now, being present. If you're not present and living in the moment right now, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. So for me, that's what it's about.
Love that. So I always like to end the show on the same question. What advice would you give that person that wants to do what you do?
Well, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I would say for sure, be in acting classes. You have to do that. I would say go do all the things that other people won't do. Think outside the box. When a door closes, find a window to crawl through. You have to get out there and you have to go the extra mile and learn and read and listen and watch YouTube videos, and just be a sponge. Be a sponge.
I love that. You're always welcome to come back anytime on the show, and we were glad to have you on today.
Oh, well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on. And please, everybody, go watch Wineville. You can watch it, and anywhere that you stream stuff, whether it's Amazon, Apple, iTunes, Google Play. You can even get the DVD if you go to winevillemovie.com. I will autograph the DVD for you at winevillemovie.com. But yeah, I would love it if you guys would go and support an independent filmmaker.
And be sure to follow her at Brande Roderick.
Yep.
We look forward to having you back one day. We'll talk with you soon.
Thank you. Take care, Chris. Bye.
Okay, the